Hello everyone. I want to talk about this show on Netflix called Bad Guys. It's a Korean police drama, and I want to talk about it because it's been a while since I been to Korea. I was born and raised there. Came to the United States back in 1974, and back then it was a little bit different, I guess. Well, I guess TVs were different, but in Korea, TV shows weren't spending too much money. The acting has always been good though, but not too much action. Everything was just by dialogue. But now Korean shows, TV shows as well as movies, it's like the best ones in the world, I think. And Bad Guys does not disappoint. It's one of the best Korean dramas I've seen on Netflix. I mean, it's not that I watched too many of them, but this was very interesting. And it's about a cop, a detective whose daughter is murdered, and because of all the pain and suffering he has to go through, he quits his job. But later on, he gets called back to be on the job because there's a serial killer on the loose. And this detective's idea is to get 3 people that's already in prison. One guy is an assassin. Another guy is like a brute, is a great fighter. And the third guy is just really, really smart guy. I don't know if you ever watched a Japanese anime called Death Note. And if you could remember the guy named L. All right, this smart guy kind of reminds me of him a little bit. Anyway, he gets these 3 criminals out of prison to help the detective to solve these crimes. So it's kind of like the Breakout Kings, I think it was called, on Netflix as well. A very similar story, but the difference, however, is that there's a subplot. There's a reason why this police officer got these 3 specific criminals out of prison to help catch criminals. And that's the subplot. Well, I guess that's the bigger plot, but it's not just about catching the bad guys, it's about why these 3 people. It's not just only interesting, but acting is always good. Koreans sure know how to act. I mean, one of the things they have to learn, Korean actors, is that they have to learn how to cry, because there's a lot of crying in Korean dramas, right? And they really tug at your emotions, and they do a lot of that, and it's really good. But the fighting sequences as well is very well done. I've seen a lot of Marvel shows on Netflix. And there's a lot of scenes like in the hallway, people are fighting and whatnot. And this show's got quite a bit of fighting. And I don't know if you saw, when I first watched that movie called Old Boy, and there's a fighting sequence in the hallway, kind of a scene, and it's so real. It seems more real than the American movies where one guy just beating up everybody. Chinese movies are the same way. Korean ones, fighting sequences are more realistic. I mean, the hero gets punched and one that is fighting through the pain, let's say. And I kind of like that, And it's not that they're all kung fu fighters and stuff like that, but the fighting sequences are done very well. Once again, acting is good. Cinematography is great. I think that's one of the biggest improvements in Korean dramas and movies. It's really great. But the reason why I like this movie, this show a lot, even though it hardly ever has any funny scenes. I think there's one guy who is kind of like a comic relief. I wish there were more laughter, but I guess it wouldn't be a Korean drama if it had too much laughters and things like that. Anyway, the thing I like about Korean shows, especially Bad Guys, is dialogue. It's written very well. And the lead guy, this policeman, says a lot of the things that is really catchy. I mean, I really like what he says. One thing I could remember, just top of my head, he says, if you worry, well, I can't quote it perfectly, but if your worries about the worries in your life can get rid of worries, then we wouldn't have anything to worry about, right? That's what he says. And I think, oh yeah, that's kind of true. So what am I all worried about? Just because I'm worried about things doesn't mean it's gonna go away, right? It's like, don't worry. I think that's what he's trying to say. I forgot, there was another one that was really catchy. I should have written it down. But another one that I really like, you know, being a Christian and whatnot, is when he says to, I forgot who he was talking to, but anyway, when he says that across the Jordan River, there is hell, you know, like Gehenna, there is hell. And it is luxury to confess your sins in hell. Now that's powerful. I really like that. I actually made a video right before this one that I kind of mentioned that, you know, because I think people tend to apologize and whatnot just so that they could stay in hell, right? So they could get away with certain things that they do, right? Because as soon as you say, I'm sorry, then people forgive you and it's it, it's done, I guess. But I like that, you know, across the Jordan River is hell, and is luxury to confess your sins in hell. Oh, that's really cool. I guess the whole point is, you know, get to the other side of the river, you know, come to Jerusalem where there's forgiveness and a life of abundance. Oh, and another thing he said, I just remember that I really liked. He said, to sin, right, is human business. Right? Oh, I guess there's a Christian saying to sin is human, but to forgive is divine. I guess that's the saying. So this guy actually says this a little bit differently when he says that to sin is human, but to justify your sin is a devilish idea, or it's devilish. And I kind of like that too, because sometimes when we do apologize our sins to one another, or when we say I'm sorry and things like that, you know, we're trying to justify what we have done. Like you say, hey, this is me, you know, I'm my father's son, and this is who I am. You know, you justify what you do that is wrong, right? So I think that was. I think that's really cool. In fact, I heard some Christians say to me that there's no difference between Christians and non-Christians. We're all a bunch of sinners, right? We're all sinners. The only difference is for those of us who believe we're forgiven while others are not. Meaning that those who are forgiven goes to heaven, everyone else goes to hell. I mean, I don't agree with that, but that's how people justify their sin. I'm forgiven of it, so it's okay. Yeah, anyway, there's a lot of other things that in the dialogue when they talk to one another, there's a lot of cool things, you know, that's written the way it was written, and it's really cool. I highly recommend it. You will love it. I think it's only 10 or 11 episodes, but each episode is about 10 hours long. It's the first season. I'm looking forward to season 2, so please take a look at it. All right, please take a look. Hope you enjoy it. God bless. I'll see you next time.